Nobody in that stadium was ready for what they were about to see. The game was competitive, the crowd was loud, and both teams were fighting for every single run. And then, in one moment that nobody saw coming, a Red Sox first baseman did something so reckless, so deliberate, so completely outside the boundaries of professional baseball, that the entire sport stopped breathing at the same time. Shohei Ohtani was the target. And what happened next has ignited a firestorm that is now reaching every corner of Major League Baseball. The atmosphere between the Boston Red Sox and the Los Angeles Dodgers had been charged from the very beginning of the game. According to multiple sources inside the ballpark, there had been an unmistakable tension building between both clubs well before the critical moment arrived. These are two franchises that carry enormous weight, enormous history, and an unmistakable edge of competition whenever they occupy the same field. But nothing, not the rivalry, not the stakes, not the intensity of the moment, prepared anyone for what the Red Sox first baseman did. The cheap shot was deliberate. It was calculated. And according to multiple eyewitnesses present at the scene, it was directed specifically at Shohei Ohtani in a manner that had absolutely nothing to do with competitive baseball. The contact was not the kind that happens in the heat of a hard-nosed play where instinct takes over and the game moves faster than a player can think. This was different. Everyone who saw it in real time knew it immediately. And every replay confirmed what the initial reaction had already told the world. Ohtani went down. The stadium fell silent. And a sport that has been built on a foundation of respect, competition, and shared understanding of the game's unwritten code was left staring at something that violated every single part of that foundation. According to multiple inside sources, the scene in the Dodgers dugout in the immediate aftermath was one of barely contained fury. Players who had been locked into every pitch, every at-bat, every moment of a tightly contested game suddenly had their attention fixed on one thing and one thing only, their teammate, on the ground, because of something that never should have happened. Veterans who have spent careers in this game and who understand that hard play and physical contact are part of baseball's fabric were not confused about what they had just witnessed. There was no debate in that dugout about whether the play was simply aggressive or misread. The reaction was immediate, unified, and unambiguous. Not a single person in the Dodgers dugout spoke for several seconds after Ohtani went down. The silence was the kind that fills a space completely, the kind where every person present understands that something serious has just occurred and that the moment demands stillness before anything else. When Ohtani finally began to move, slowly, carefully, with the assistance of the training staff, the relief that moved through the Dodgers dugout was real, but it did not soften the anger. If anything, seeing him hurt made the anger settle deeper and harder into every person wearing that uniform. Shohei Ohtani, once it became clear that he was able to speak and respond, did something that stunned everyone around him. He did not stay quiet. He did not defer to the organization or allow the situation to be managed and framed entirely by others. According to multiple sources directly familiar with what occurred, Ohtani made his position known in clear, direct, unmistakable terms. He is demanding a season-long suspension for the Red Sox player responsible. That statement, coming from Ohtani himself, a player known throughout the sport for his professionalism, his restraint, and his almost total absence from controversy of any kind, hit the baseball world like a shockwave. Ohtani does not make public demands. He does not inject himself into political situations within the game. He plays baseball at a level that no one else on the planet can match, and he does it with a quiet, consistent dignity that has earned him the respect of every player, coach, and executive in the sport. For him to step forward and demand a season-long suspension tells everyone paying attention exactly how serious this situation truly is. This is not a player seeking attention or leveraging a moment for personal gain. This is the most respected player in baseball drawing a clear line in front of the entire sport and saying that what happened to him cannot be treated as anything less than what it was. According to multiple sources familiar with Ohtani's conversations with Dodgers leadership following the incident, his message was delivered with complete composure but absolute firmness. There was no ambiguity in what he was asking for. And the organization heard him. Dave Roberts has managed through difficult moments before. He has navigated injuries to key players, roster controversies, clubhouse tensions, and the relentless pressure of managing a franchise that operates under the highest expectations in the sport every single day. He is known as a calm, measured, emotionally intelligent leader who rarely allows external circumstances to pull him away from the steady, consistent presence his players depend on. What he said following this incident was shocking precisely because it came from him. According to multiple sources present when Roberts addressed the situation publicly, his remarks carried a directness and an edge that people who cover this team described as unlike anything they had heard from him before. Roberts did not soften the language. He did not retreat into the careful, diplomatic framing that managers typically use when navigating sensitive situations involving other organizations or other players. He stated clearly that what had happened was one of the most unacceptable things he had witnessed in his years in professional baseball. He stated clearly that the response from the league needed to match the severity of what had occurred. And he stated clearly that the Dodgers would be making their position known to the commissioner's office in terms that left absolutely no room for misinterpretation. According to those present, when Roberts finished speaking, the room was completely still. Reporters who have covered the team for years sat without asking follow-up questions for several seconds. Because there was nothing to clarify. Every word had been chosen carefully and delivered with a weight that communicated everything the Dodgers wanted communicated. The last thing Roberts said before leaving the podium enveloped the entire room in silence. The league needs to send a message that protects every player on every field. Not just tonight. Every night. The Red Sox organization found itself in an extraordinarily difficult position within hours of the incident. According to multiple sources familiar with the internal conversations within the Boston front office, the reaction among team leadership was one of deep concern, not just about the external fallout, but about what the play itself said about the culture and the standards the organization holds its players to. Several Red Sox executives, according to those sources, expressed views privately that were not significantly different from the views being expressed publicly by the Dodgers. The player himself, according to multiple sources, was informed of the reaction from around the league and from within his own organization relatively quickly after the game. The atmosphere in the Red Sox clubhouse following the incident was, by all accounts, one of the heaviest the team had experienced all season. Not because of a loss in the standings. Not because of a roster setback. But because of the awareness that one of their own had done something that put the entire franchise in a position nobody wanted to occupy. Several Red Sox veterans, according to those familiar with the locker room conversations, made their feelings known internally. The code of professional baseball, the shared understanding of what is and is not acceptable when competing at this level, had been violated. And that violation had consequences that extended far beyond any individual player. Around the league, the reaction was swift and nearly universal. Current players from multiple teams expressed their views with a directness that reflected how seriously the incident was being taken across the sport. Former players appearing on broadcasts described the play in terms that left no room for charitable interpretation. Analysts who have spent careers studying the game and its culture stated plainly that what had occurred represented one of the clearest violations of baseball standards that they could recall in recent seasons. The commissioner's office, according to multiple sources familiar with the league's internal process, began reviewing the incident immediately. The footage was examined from multiple angles. Statements were collected. And according to those sources, the preliminary assessment within the league office was that the play warranted a significant disciplinary response, one that reflected both the nature of the act itself and the identity of the player who was targeted. A decision is expected soon. And according to multiple sources, the Dodgers are prepared to escalate their response significantly if the league's ruling does not reflect what they believe the situation demands. Shohei Ohtani will continue to play baseball. He will continue to do the things that no other player in this sport can do, at a level that continues to redefine what is possible on a baseball field. His competitive spirit, his preparation, his refusal to let any circumstance diminish what he brings to the game every single day, none of that changes because of what happened. But something else does not change either. What that Red Sox first baseman did in that moment is now permanently part of the record of this sport. It is part of the conversation about what baseball is willing to accept and what it is not. And Shohei Ohtani, quietly, firmly, and with the full weight of everything he represents in this game behind him, has made clear exactly where that line must be drawn. The league is listening. The sport is watching. And the answer that comes back will define something much larger than one game, one play, or one suspension.